The Gaspé Road, modern highway for the motorist to travel, but leading through one of the most picturesque and unspoiled areas of North America. For more than 500 miles, the road clings to the rocky, wind-swept coastline of the Gaspé Peninsula, that part of Quebec province which lies north of New Brunswick and south of the St. Lawrence Gulf. The road circles the peninsula and visits all of its little seaside villages. Look down on this coastline from the air. See the rugged beauty of its forested hills, the little pebbly beaches nestling between jagged cliffs of rock. On the cliffs of Bonaventure Island, near the peninsula's tip, glimpse the great colony of water birds at its annual nesting ground. See the bright blue waters bejeweled with flying birds, as in our own great bird we circle overhead. From the plain, too, we catch our first sight of the village of Percé, situated at the far eastern end of the peninsula. Percé is more than a town. In fact, the whole Gaspé Peninsula is more than a place. It is a mood, a feeling which is imparted not only by its lovely setting and picturesque appearance, but by the character of the people who live here, and whose ways have changed very little since their ancestors first came to these shores generations ago. The Gaspé was probably discovered years before any records tell of the arrival of civilized men on American soil. No doubt the Viking ships anchored here, and a host of other adventurers followed them. The great ship-like rock which gave Percé its name has been a guide for mariners through ages. Nearly all the little towns of the Gaspé are built along the beaches. The people are literally hemmed in between the water on one side and the rugged hills on the other. For centuries, the men of Gaspé have gone down to the sea in ships. Their main interest is the sea and the things that may be taken from the sea. Back from the beaches are the little meadows embroidered with flowers, meadows on which the industrious Gaspésians do their little farming to supplement the living they make from the sea. The people of Gaspé are largely of French descent, lively of spirit, gentle, kindly, and hard-working. Most Gaspésians are bilingual, speaking both English and French. But French is the predominant language, and the children gain most of their knowledge of English in school. In many of the villages, bread is still baked in outdoor ovens. The men of the family heat the ovens and prepare them for the baking. Gaspésian girls learn at an early age how to make the bread and tend its baking. The women of Gaspé are noted for their handcrafts, especially weaving. There are many little shops where the craft work is displayed for sale. In some, the women may be seen at their work. There are many unique things to see and to do along the Gaspé Road. In many ways, it is a journey back into our forgotten past, a past which lives on in Gaspé, because the people are content with this way of life and enjoy its peaceful, unhurried pattern. The youngsters get into the act. These have set up shop by the side of the road and are trying to attract the attention of motorists. Arts of many kinds flourish along the Gaspé Road. The beauty and serenity of the land attract many visiting artists. Artists who have caught inspiration from the green-mantled hills, flower-carpeted meadows, rock-bound shore and sea, and from the gentle, courteous people who inhabit this land. Travelers find pleasant accommodations, restaurants, inns, most of them small, but all scrupulously clean and conducted in that manner which is native to the Gaspésian, courteous, friendly, hospitable. The people of Gaspé are deeply religious. Crosses surmount numerous hills, and there are inspiring stories about the origin of these. Some of the churches are almost magically beautiful. The Gaspésians are predominantly Catholic. This church in Percé occupies the site of two previous churches, the first of which was probably built around 1780. Once each year, a special service is held for the blessing of the fishing fleet. The padre speaks briefly of the meaning of the occasion, then, accompanied by his altar boys, makes his way to the boats. Moving from boat to boat, he makes the sign whereby the blessing of the Lord will descend. All the boats in the harbor are gaily decorated for the occasion. Families and friends of the fishermen, along with most of the visitors in town, circle round and round while the ceremony goes on. During the fishing season, the boats go out daily, very early in the morning, returning many hours later with their abundant catches. Even while the cod are being unloaded, repair of the fishing lines is begun, so that the boat will be ready for early departure on the morrow. Gaspé cod are highly prized, not only because they are taken from the cold waters of the North Atlantic and the Gulf of St. Lawrence, but because of the prompt and careful curing they are given. Fish are cleaned as rapidly as they are unloaded from the boats and are made ready for quick immersion in brine, the first step in the curing process. After removal from the brine, the cod are laid out to dry, a process which requires the better part of a month before the fish acquire the proper whiteness. Another important source of food along the Gaspé Road is the lobster bed. Taken from the deep, cold waters, the Gaspé lobster is especially choice. The lobsters are caught in traps anchored to buoys on the surface of the water. Because there is no refrigeration, lobsters are boiled at once over open fires along the beach. No visit to Percé is complete without a journey to Bonaventure Island for a close look at the birds who make these rocky cliffs their nesting grounds. They seem to prefer the steep seaward side of the island, which is the most difficult for humans to approach. But there's an easier way up, and now we look down on the birds, getting our own bird's eye view of a portion of the huge colony. More than half of the birds on Bonaventure are of the gannet family. Mr. Gannet might well be a character out of a Walt Disney cartoon. The gannets share their rocky perch with numerous other water birds: the mureys, auks, kittiwakes, gulls, and puffins. All of them nest here in complete harmony. Is there anything lovelier than a great bird in flight? In the late 1800s, more than 100,000 birds nested on Bonaventure Island. Their number dwindled to not over 2,500 as hunters preyed on the flock. Then, in 1918, the Dominion government made Bonaventure Island a bird sanctuary, and each year since, the numbers have increased. A new arrival, no doubt, bewildered by the throng. How does a guy find a place to build a home around here? Won't be easy unless some of these earlier arrivals can be induced to move over. Situations like this can produce neighborhood scraps, and do. Most of the gannets are neighborly souls and help each other out. Some people say this is part of the act of courting. The main business of the new arrivals is courting, of course, and the gannets have their own special way of wooing and winning. Among humans, this is sometimes referred to as necking. Material for home building isn't much of a problem, it seems. Where's a good place for this house? Might as well try to get it in a select neighborhood. Better for Mama and little Ganny when he arrives. Mama's found a place, I guess, and she's the one who really builds the house. More bricks, Papa. You think houses are made of wishes? Oh, all right, all right. Don't get your feathers in a twist, Mama. More coming up. Be it ever so humble, Mrs. Gannet at home and at peace with the world. Peaceful, this is? The gal next door seems to be having her trouble. The old man never sticks around home and... There the rascal comes, strutting his way along. Uh-oh. Guess he got the message. And is he trying to mend fences? Now, Mama, you know I hurried back as fast as I could. You're my one and only, you know that. Had a long day on the nest? Well, move over. Let me handle things for a spell. I'll even clean up the house while you're gone. Watch me make the dust fly. Uh-oh, Mama's back, and no sign of Papa, the loafer. No one's at home this day, though, and it begins to look like an important day. Little Ganny's beginning to come through. Boy, I made it. How dark it is, though. Can't see a thing. When did they take my blinders off? Now I'm getting my eyes open. Took a while, though. Nobody's around. Maybe I can crawl out and, Too much effort. Mom keeps me bottled up most of the time anyhow. Says I'm not old enough to try my wings. Wish she'd let me try walking, like that little Murray kid next door. Of course, he's got a few days' growth on me. Won't she ever stop this nonsense? Oh, well, I'm beginning to put feathers on, and I'm sharpening up my beak. Am I getting feathers and an appetite? Bring on the codfish ball. Hey, now's my chance. If I can just take that first step. Darn, she's on her way back. And will I get sat on? Patience just a little longer, Ganny. Pretty soon you'll be out and flying with the best of them. Birds may be born with the instinct to fly, but it takes a heap of learning before they become proficient at it. The gannet parents are good teachers, and a good thing for the little ones that they are. For these wings will have to carry them over many miles of open ocean. By early autumn, the flock will leave Bonaventure, and any bird who has not learned to fly will be left behind. Not until 4 years later will the young gannets return as fully matured birds to seek mates of their own and to start the life cycle over again. The birds of Bonaventure Island, one of the unforgettable sights along the Gaspé Road.